What's going on, y'all? Jason Thomas here with the Good Ground Lounge. We bring entrepreneurs to talk about their past experiences, things that they do, give insight, give back to the next generation of young professionals. And we have a special guest here today. Who do we have here today?
Hi, I'm Jaspers, founder of Vitalife.
Vitalife. So tell us, if people don't know, what is Vitalife?
Yeah, so Vitalife is a weight loss and wellness program where we specialize in a metabolic bioscan that allows us to know exactly what our clients need to overcome their metabolic challenges. We then take that information and customize weight loss programs specifically tailored to them, and then coach them through the long-term habits and lifestyle changes that they're going to need to keep the weight off the rest of their life.
So give me that same answer in kindergarten language.
In kindergarten language. We are the last stop on the diet train.
I heard that. So yeah, I mean, I always said that, and y'all need to hear this. I always told Davis, if he just had where they made my food, if they made it and I could just stop by his spot and get some garbage soup or whatever it is, I would be okay. Because like when you're hungry, y'all know this, when y'all hungry, that addiction, the food, that's what kills everybody. Because they'll have the discipline, but when they have those cravings, that's what does it.
So there's a few principles, and some of these, what we teach at Vitalife, we do two things. We do, number one, the way we teach is experiential education. All right, so that the method of education is experiential education, which means it's education through a series of failures. Right? So the best way that we as humans learn is through failure. And we grow up failing and being totally fine with it until somewhere along the line we become self-aware enough, and also our school system and also the way parents in America tend to parent, not every parent, but the tendency is to look down on or judge if we fail. Getting an F on a report card, you failed. And then, we can even subconsciously, we reward, if you get an A, then you get money, you get, go out to eat, whatever, right? Like we reward A's because we want our kids to do well, right? But what we really should want is we should want our kids to learn. Now, with all of the shortcuts and AI and everything, an A is not an A. There's a difference between somebody who earns an A and somebody who can produce an A. Big difference. And I would rather have a kid that can consistently produce a C than someone who produces an A because they figured out the system.
So you don't reward the ingenuity and the creativity? Because when I look at AI and a lot of this stuff, I don't see it going anywhere.
Right. It's definitely
and if
not.
a person can use their resources to solve a problem, I mean, is that necessarily a bad thing on the other side of that? Because if someone says no, like if I use AI and say, hey, take this list, sort it out, and categorize it by this, it does it in 2 seconds. Do you want that kid to do that, or you want him to spend half a day? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I have no problem with using the tools at all. The problem I have is the shortcuts and cheating, right? So, and the reason I have a problem with that is because it is a universal truth. Anytime you shortcut the system, and here's the point, we don't educate, and this is why failure and experiential education is the best form of education, because if you are sitting there and you are experiencing failure and learning from that, it teaches you, this is the key, a process, okay? It teaches you a process. If you are using AI to do your whatever, you don't learn a process.
Okay.
You shortcut it, and then everything in life that you shortcut and you don't do the process properly, it doesn't matter. It is a universal truth. Every single time it ends poorly. Okay, let me give you some examples. What happens, we'll use like the law of the seasons. What happens if you plant your crops in the wintertime?
You're not going to receive
Correct.
it. The ground is hard. The natural stuff won't happen.
The natural stuff. So what happens if you harvest your crops before they're ready?
It's bad.
They're
not ready to be picked.
It's not ready to be picked. What happens if you create a crop that is immune to herbicides and pesticides, and so you can douse it with that to the point where you have to have a hazmat suit on to walk into that field? So we're going to shortcut the system because the system that works properly is there's about 30 different nutrients and minerals and vitamins and all sorts of stuff that should be in our soil. And if we had that in our soil, our plants by nature will have the right things to automatically fend off the weeds, the herbs that aren't supposed to be there, and the insects. They have a God-given built-in defense mechanisms for all of those things. But it's more expensive. So what do we do? Right now we have about 4 minerals in our soil because we don't need them, because we can douse it with the pesticides. Now, let's play out that problem. Okay, what is the problem with that? Well, the problem with that is then if we're eating non-organic food, and most of us are, we have measurable pesticides in our blood. If you were to go and get a blood test right now and measure for the various insecticides and herbicides, it would be at noticeable and even high levels in your bloodstream.
So you're talking about people who eat fruit and vegetables, even if they wash it off with like the little scrubs, you're saying it's in the fruit and vegetable?
In the food, for sure, yeah. So, I mean, think about it. You would have irreversible harm walking into a field that without a hazmat suit on that's been sprayed by, like Roundup or any of the pesticides and herbicides. You would be hurt. You would be hurt. So all we're doing is we're going to gather that food and then you're going to wash it off. That's going to somehow make everything better. Like you're,
oh my God, man. So wait a minute. So
that's an example. So,
but that's real though, because
it's
people think. I had a conversation with my wife about this. She was washing the fruit, and it was like stuff in the water when she cleaned it. But you're saying it's deeper than the surface. It's in the stuff.
And that's why. So, like, for instance, if I look at the problem in America, right? Like, where are the big problems? The problem is not organic versus non-organic. And there's going to be a lot of experts in the natural wellness field and functional medicine that would argue with that. Now, I'm not taking away from the ideal. Yes, it is better to have organic. And when possible, that's what I buy. But if I need a tomato at the end of the day, I'm going to get a tomato, right? Organic or not, because I want to make my food. Right? That is not the problem. The problem is the highly processed foods. If we as a country ate genetically modified food all the time that had been doused with all of these chemicals, we would still be immensely healthy compared to what we are. Because not only are we eating the pesticide stuff, well, we're eating the pesticide stuff and then we're going to process it down into like sugar or chips or whatever the processed food is. And then we're going to put some other preservatives in there so it stays, the shelf life is longer and all that other stuff.
So how do you feel about air fryers? Are those bad?
It's a good question. No, I like air fryers a lot. Yeah. I'm a big fan of air fryers. It's a great way to heat up food, and it's a great way to get a nice crisp without frying.
Grease. So what I'll ask is, so with everything you've shared, give me 2 pieces of advice that you can give for young people? Because this can be about them with wellness, with education, because you're so smart. Like you just share. I don't even want to eat. I don't want to eat anything. I don't even know if I want water. I don't know what I want. But I would like for you to share, as an entrepreneur, studying the body, all the stuff. Give us 2 pieces of advice that the students could, meditate on for a little bit.
Yeah. So number 1 is do the process. So the process that, and this is, even going back to the philosophers like Aristotle and Socrates, they defined happiness as the ability to give up something you want now for something you want eventually. Okay, I'll say it again. The ability to give up something you want now for something you want eventually. That is happiness. Now, thinking about that, what are the things that you sacrifice or give up in the present for your future self? That could be some retirement money. And the small sacrifices you make now pay off huge dividends in the future. But if you don't make those small sacrifices now, in our example of retirement, then you get to retirement age and you have no money to retire and you have to keep working.
I think their mentality goes against that because that's that YOLO, you only live once, all that.
Correct.
So it's like, I'm living for now, so that temporary way of thinking, you're saying is actually the opposite of happiness.
It is. The most miserable people in the world are the people who always live that way because they're the addicts. They're living for the present, which is a dopamine hit. They're living for the present, and they are not considering what their future self is going to be like. And the pain you choose. So for instance, is it painful or somewhat hard if you're eating a healthy diet and you go out and everybody's like, well, we can't do this, and like there's some pain there.
Yes.
There's pain there.
Yes.
I'm not denying that it's not hard, okay? But the pain you choose to go through is always better than the pain that is forced upon you.
Yeah, say that again. Yeah.
So I mean, think about some people think, well, that's hard. It's hard to eat healthy, and I drink alcohol. I enjoy sweets. I love chips and salsa.
Wait a minute, you drink alcohol?
Yeah, I
you drink
alcohol.
Henny? What you drink?
I'm an old-fashioned guy with Woodford Reserve.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I make my own simple syrup and everything. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I'm big into it. I'm a mixologist.
Yeah, I've seen you with the thing. Okay, I thought she was drinking like Hennessy and gin and
I
juice.
I do like Hennessy too.
You do?
Oh, yeah. But I like sophisticated, making like sophisticated cocktails. Typically
with the giant ice cubes.
With giant clear ice cubes. Yeah.
Okay.
Clear is a thing too.
So what's the second piece of advice you got?
The second piece of advice is 2% of the population spends 2% of their time working on developing themselves after they finish like high school, college. And 2% of the population is the percentage of population that can lose their weight and keep it off for life. Okay? 2%. That's it. In America, that's it. So if you lose weight in America and can keep it off for 2 years, you're part of the 2% of 2%ers in America. So my other thing is take 2% of your time and devote, that's 34 minutes a day. If you take 2% of your day, 2% of 24 hours is 34 minutes.
Wow.
Okay. If you will take 34 minutes a day and you will dedicate that time to working on your mental strength, working on reading books that are about your mind development, if you can develop your mind to be like an ant, so I'll end with this fun story. So an ant, if you have like a line of ants, and I always like to play with the ants when I find them, but you have a line of ants, and if you put a pen or pencil or something in their way to block their way, the ants come and they stop, and then they're kind of, they do the feeler thing, and then they eventually, pretty quickly, feel, and they can get around it, right? They either can go over it, under it, through it, or around it. Okay, whatever the obstacle is, you can put a big obstacle there. You can put a small obstacle. If you're by their hole, you can put a big old boulder on top of their hole, and they're all confused and trying to figure out what to do. Right? Okay. The cool thing is, how long will an ant work at getting around the object?
They won't stop. Like, because they stop, they die. Right?
So that's the thing. Yeah, they either find a way through it, under it, over it, or around it, or die trying. Now, if you can develop that mentality, if that is your mind, think of what's possible. If that is your mind, then you become limitless.
And the Bible says that, like, study the ants and study the insects, and it says that you can learn a lot from them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Well, Davis, thank you so much. I appreciate the knowledge.
Here. Yeah.
So if you want to come, so guys, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you got some nuggets from this. We'll catch you on the next episode. Peace out.